The Tennessee Bama game was, you talk about the Georgia Tech Duke game turning on one play. It's 16-7 right before halftime, and Tennessee is an excruciating, painful, a pound of flesh for every yard they were getting, but they kept getting them. They were like, you're going to take chunks out of me, but we're going to get there.
Yeah.
And they get down to the 2-yard line, and they're out of timeouts. And so Bama knows, well, they're not going to run. And so Aguiar tries a little play action. I love the play design.
Spider 2-wide banana.
Famous route.
Yep.
But Zabian Brown, number 2 on offense, number 2 on defense for Bama, pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Zabian's a 5-star from Mater Dei out in California. And he picks it, and it's instead of 16-14, it's 23-7. And a great little okey-doke move because the back's chasing him, but I'm sure in his peripheral he could see if I get close enough, he's going to pitch it. And he hesitates just enough that he's able to get in and score. And at 23-7, it's a steep uphill climb. Tennessee kept punching back, but they could never get closer than 10. And then for those, just so I want programming note, we don't have a Sports Center this week because we're going to Detroit, which means there are no bad beats, which maybe is good because it would take an hour. That game ended, for all those that had the over, with Tennessee on inside the 1. They get called for a penalty, and then on like the last play of the game with the clock winding down, they run it thinking we'll probably be able to get in, and their guy gets stuffed at the 1. And had it been in with a minute left, I think they'd have reviewed it. And maybe they did. But it seemed like the guy's reaching for the goal line to get within 10, which doesn't matter on the scoreboard or the spread, but it did if you had the over. So there's people that I know, there's at least one person out there saying, you better talk about the total. That was a rough one. But really that game, I think on the Brown pick, the game gets from a 2-point game at the half, and it's all in front of you, to it's a pretty steep uphill climb, even though I give Tennessee credit for punching for the last 30 minutes of that ball game.
Yeah, I thought McElroy's breakdown was awesome on the interception before the half, because him as a quarterback,
had it sniffed out. Yep.
He's ran that play a million times. I've run that play a million times. That quarterback cannot miss inside. Guy that's guarding him is immediately running inside out. You have to overthrow him to the outside. You have to hit him in the hands, not his inside hip. And I thought Brown made a great play. I thought they were advantageous in the idea that you knew they had to throw the football. And so you really weren't, you go play action there, but you know you're not.
They know you're not running
action.
because you don't have a timeout. That's why like the cloak and dagger only works. The cloak only works if I don't know where the dagger is. I don't even know what that means. They knew you're throwing.
Yeah.
They knew you're not going to just, I mean, unless Heupel wanted to go Cassell meme and, put him in a wheelbarrow and run it. But they tried that on the last play of the game. They didn't get there. But it was an amazing play of Brown, and you point out the McElroy breakdown. Like they showed the vision cone of Brown with his eyes on him, and he's got one behind him and one in front of him. And to your point, when it's on the inside, on that inside shoulder, he jumps it. An incredible play that totally changes the entire tenor of that ball game. And again, I asked the question, is DeBoer allowed to finish October? I assume he's good to stay in Tuscaloosa.
That offense is pretty damn good. Good Lord, they're nice toys to play with.
And I think Tennessee did a really good job. I mean, largely limiting. They made it hard on him, I thought. There wasn't a ton easy for Simpson tonight, even though, again, he's going to hang pretty decent numbers. They get some flash plays and some chunk plays. I thought Tennessee, whose defense looked really susceptible against Georgia, I thought they really did a pretty decent job in this game.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue, and I don't I'm not saying it's a flaw in the offensive system, but it's just really different. And seeing Georgia come back against Tennessee and then see Alabama, a team that has struggled with quarterback run against Tennessee in years past, they don't have it. I really think Aguiar's been, I compliment him to the fullest in that situation that he stepped in. He's a capable player, but that offense is totally different when you have quarterback run. Totally different. And I want to say they came into the game averaging what they run for tonight, because they came in leading the SEC.
42. Buck 42, but to your point, Aguiar is minus 20, but that's because of the sacks and all. But that's such a great point about what does Bama really struggle with, and it's that. And it's always been that. Whether it was
that
Nick
offense, that's what I'm saying. Like Hendon Hooker, Eaton, and Nico last year. Those, and I talked to Nick about it Friday morning. He's like, "Oh God," he's like, "I still have nightmares of Hendon Hooker in that classic game in Knoxville." But and to Heupel's point, and to back him up, I believe they led the SEC in rushing per game over 200 yards, and they didn't get there tonight. And that's what stuck. That's why I liked Alabama in this game, knowing they didn't have to worry about that, seeing how much trouble they've had in years past. And then, to our point that we've talked about with teams, moving forward, Tennessee still has plenty of chances to be heard from.
Of course, because
it's a tough one to go down there and lose by 17. That game's closer than 17 points. I don't care what anyone says. So
for certain.
That's 3 straight weeks I had the over in the Bama game, and it didn't get there.
Well, that was a real kick in the junk tonight, but I'm sorry.
Last week was 50. Last week was 51.5. It landed on 51.
Well, this was a touchdown on
the
last
week
play.
Before, Pavia had 2 turnovers inside the 10-yard line.
Wasn't quite a touchdown.